The red sun of Kepler 442b cast long shadows across the rocky wasteland. Smoke rose from burning settlements in the distance. The air smelled of metal and fear. General Vextar stood on the observation deck of Forward Base Harmony, his forearms crossed behind his back. His purple skin gleamed under the artificial lights. The Altarian commander had been fighting on this planet for 6 months. 6 long months of death and failure. "Sir, the morning patrol report," said Captain Zeth, a tall reptilian saurian. His green scales clicked as he moved. 3 more settlements attacked last night. The beast struck again. Vextar turned his large black eyes toward the captain. "How many dead this time?" 47 coalition soldiers. All the civilians evacuated safely. But sir, our weapons barely scratched it. The creature seems to adapt to everything we throw at it. The general's jaw tightened. The Shadow Maw had become their worst nightmare. A single creature bringing the mighty galactic coalition to its knees. It stood 12 feet tall with obsidian black scales that seemed to absorb laser fire. Its amber eyes glowed like tiny suns in the darkness. Its claws could tear through battle armor like paper. "What about the new quantum disruptors?" Vextar asked. "Direct hit, sir." The beast shrugged it off and killed the entire weapons team. Vextar slammed his fist on the metal railing. "Impossible. That weapon can destroy a starship." "Yes, sir. But the creature's hide seems to change. It becomes harder after each attack. Our scientists think it learns from every encounter." The general looked out at the landscape. This planet should have been an easy conquest. Rich in minerals, perfect for coalition expansion. Instead, it had become a graveyard for his best soldiers. Double the patrols. "I want that thing found and destroyed," Vextar ordered. "Sir, perhaps we should consider retreat. The creature only attacks when we enter certain areas. Maybe it's just defending territory." Vextar's eyes flashed with anger. "Are you suggesting we run from one animal, Captain?" "No, sir. Just suggesting we study it more. Dr. Yuna from the human research team has theories about its behavior." "The human female? What could she possibly know about warfare?" "She studies alien life forms, sir. She thinks the Shadow Maw might be more intelligent than we assumed." Vextar waved a dismissive hand. "Intelligence or not, it dies. Send word to all units. Next encounter, we use everything we have." Meanwhile, in the human quarters of the base, 8-year-old Minho sat quietly in the corner of the refugee center. His small hands clutched a wooden figurine. His father had carved it before the evacuation from Earth, before the transport ship explosion that killed his parents. Dr. Yuna approached the boy. Her kind face showed concern. "Minho, you haven't eaten today. Are you feeling okay?" The boy looked up with sad brown eyes. "I had another dream about the big animal." Yuna sat down beside him. "The Shadow Maw? What kind of dream?" It wasn't scary. The animal looked hurt, like it was crying. Yuna studied the child's face. Minho had been having these dreams for weeks, ever since the attacks began. Most humans feared the creature, but this boy seemed to sense something different. "Animals can feel pain just like us," she explained gently. "Even big, scary ones." "Is it alone?" Minho asked. "I think so. We've never seen more than one." "That's sad. Everyone should have family." Yuna's heart ached. This orphaned child understood loneliness better than most adults. "Would you like to help me with my research today? I'm studying the local animals." Minho nodded eagerly. Anything was better than sitting alone with his thoughts. They walked to Yuna's laboratory. Computer screens showed images of the planet's wildlife, colorful birds with crystal wings, small mammals with fur that changed colors, plants that moved like animals. "This planet is amazing," Yuna said. "So many unique species. They've evolved in ways we've never seen." "What about the big animal? The Shadow Maw?" Yuna pulled up a blurry image on the screen. The creature stood in a forest clearing. Its amber eyes seemed to look directly at the camera. "This is the only clear photo we have. Look at those eyes, Minho. What do you see?" The boy studied the image carefully. "They look smart. like it's thinking about something important. Exactly. Most predators have simple eyes, built for hunting. But these eyes show complex thought patterns. Maybe it's not mean. Maybe it's just scared. Yuna paused. From the mouth of a child came wisdom that escaped trained soldiers. You might be right, Minho. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the base. Red lights flashed. Soldiers ran through the corridors. All civilians to safe zones. Shadowmaw detected 5 kilometers from base. All civilians to safe zones immediately. Yuna grabbed Minho's hand. Come on, we need to get to the shelter. They joined the stream of people moving through the corridors. Human refugees mixed with alien personnel. Children cried. Adults shouted orders. In the command center, General Vextar watched tactical displays. The Shadowmaw appeared as a red dot moving toward their position. Sir, it's not attacking settlements this time. It's coming straight for us. Impossible. How could it know our location? Unknown, sir. But it's moving with purpose. Direct path to the base entrance. Vexitar grabbed his plasma rifle. All units, defensive positions. Today we end this. Outside, the ground trembled. Something massive approached through the rocky terrain. Soldiers took cover behind barriers, weapons powered up with electric wines. Then they saw it. The Shadowmaw emerged from behind a hill, even larger than reports suggested. Its black scales rippled like liquid metal. Its amber eyes swept across the base with intelligence. It stopped just outside weapon range, as if it knew exactly how far their guns could reach. Why isn't it attacking? Whispered a young soldier. The creature raised its great head. It seemed to be looking for something, or someone. In the shelter, Minho pressed against the window. His eyes widened as he saw the magnificent beast. It's beautiful, he whispered. Yuna pulled him back. Stay away from the window, Minho. It's dangerous. But the boy couldn't look away. Something about the creature called to him, like it was trying to communicate. The Shadowmaw let out a long, haunting call. Not a roar of anger, something sadder, more complex. It sounds lonely, Minho said. Outside, General Vextar raised his weapon. Prepare to fire on my command. The beast's amber eyes found the shelter window. For a moment, it seemed to look directly at the human child watching it. Then it turned and disappeared back into the wasteland. Should we pursue, sir? Vextar lowered his weapon, confused. No, it had us. Why didn't it attack? Nobody had an answer. But in the shelter, a small boy smiled. I think it was saying hello, Minho whispered, to his wooden figurine. The mystery deepened, and somewhere in the rocky hills amber eyes watched and waited. 3 days passed after the strange encounter at the base. General Vexitar could not sleep. The image of the Shadowmaw's amber eyes haunted him. Why had it retreated? No creature had ever shown such restraint when facing coalition forces. Sir, urgent report from the outer settlements, Captain Zeth announced as he entered the command room. Vextar looked up from his tactical maps. More attacks? No, sir. That's the strange part. Complete silence for 3 days. No sightings. No damage. It's like the creature vanished. The general's 4 arms tensed. Impossible. Our sensors would detect something that large. That's what we thought. But sir, there's something else. The local wildlife has changed behavior. Animals that used to hide are now moving freely, like they're not afraid anymore. Vextar stood and walked to the large window overlooking the base. What are you suggesting, Captain? Maybe the creature is wounded. Maybe it's dying somewhere. Or maybe it's planning something bigger. Vextar turned back to his officer. Double security around the human quarters. That thing looked directly at their shelter. I don't trust coincidences. In the research lab, Dr. Yuna studied her readings from the past 3 days. Every sensor on the planet showed the same thing. Complete calm. But something felt wrong. Minho, can you hand me that data pad? She asked the boy who had become her constant helper. The 8-year-old reached for the device. His small wooden figurine fell from his pocket and rolled under a table. Oh no, Minho said, dropping to his knees to look for it. What's wrong? My dad's carving. It's gone under the big machine. Yuna helped him search. The figurine had rolled deep under the heavy equipment. Too far to reach. Don't worry. We'll get the maintenance crew to move it later. But Minho's eyes filled with tears. It's all I have left of him. Yuna's heart broke for the orphaned child. I promise we'll get it back. Right now, help me with something important. I'm tracking energy patterns across the planet. She showed him the computer screen. Colored lines moved across a map of the continent. These red lines show where the shadow maw has been. See the pattern? Minho studied the display. It looks like it's making a big circle around us. Exactly. But not attacking, just watching, waiting. Maybe it's trying to protect something. Yuna paused. What makes you say that? In my dreams, it always looks worried, like something bad might happen to something it loves. Before Yuna could respond, emergency alarms filled the base. But this time, the announcement was different. All military personnel report for briefing. Civilians remain in quarters. Operation Final Strike begins in 1 hour. Yuna grabbed Minho's hand. Come on, let's get you back to the safe room. In the main briefing hall, General Vexitar stood before 200 coalition soldiers. Behind him, holographic displays showed massive weapons and battle plans. Soldiers of the coalition. For 6 months, one creature has made us look like fools. Today, that ends. The assembled troops listened with grim attention. Saurians, quartzites, nebuloids, and humans all united in their frustration. We've brought in the most powerful weapons in our arsenal, quantum disruptors that can crack a moon, plasma cannons that melt starship hulls, molecular acid that dissolves any known material. Captain Zeth raised a clawed hand. Sir, what if the creature adapts again? It won't have time. We hit it with everything at once. Overwhelming force from all directions. A human sergeant named Junho stood up. General, what about collateral damage? The local ecosystem? Vextar's black eyes narrowed. Sergeant, this planet will be worthless if we can't control it. Sometimes you must destroy something to save it. But sir, Dr. Yuna's research suggests the creature might be intelligent. Maybe we should try communication first. The time for science is over, the time for war is now. Vextar activated the holographic display. The creature was last seen in Sector 7. Crystal caves, difficult terrain, perfect for an ambush. The tactical map showed the cave system. Twisting tunnels led deep underground. Multiple entrances and exits created a maze. We'll seal all exits except one. Force it into the main chamber. Then we unleash everything we have. A young quartzite officer's crystalline body shimmered nervously. Sir, what if it escapes again? It won't. This time we're not fighting to capture or study. We're fighting to kill. The briefing ended with soldiers checking their weapons. The base buzzed with activity as the most destructive force ever assembled on the planet prepared to move out. In the civilian quarters, Minho sat alone by the window. The maintenance crew was busy with military preparations. No one had time to help retrieve his father's carving. Don't worry about the toy right now, said Mrs. Kim, an elderly human refugee. The soldiers will keep us safe. But Minho felt something was wrong. Very wrong. The feeling grew stronger as evening approached. Dr. Yuna found him still by the window as the sun set. Minho, you should eat something. Dr. Yuna, can I ask you something? Of course. If an animal is really smart, can it feel sad when someone wants to hurt it? Yuna sat beside him. Yes. Very smart animals can feel many emotions. Fear, sadness, even loneliness. I think the big animal is scared. In my dream last night, it was hiding in a dark place. It looked like it was crying. Dreams can sometimes tell us things our minds can't understand when we're awake. Will the soldiers really kill it? Yuna didn't know how to answer. They think they're protecting everyone. But what if they're wrong? What if it just needs a friend? Outside, military vehicles loaded with massive weapons rolled toward the horizon. The convoy stretched for miles. Every piece of destructive technology the coalition possessed focused on one target. General Vexitar rode in the lead vehicle. His determination was absolute. This creature had embarrassed the coalition for too long. Tonight, it would die. "Sir, we're approaching the target zone," reported the driver. "Good. Signal all units, begin deployment." The vehicles spread out in a wide circle around the crystal caves. Soldiers took positions at every possible exit. Massive cannons aimed at the main entrance. "Energy reading, sir?" "The creature is definitely inside, approximately 500 meters down. Main chamber." Vextar smiled with grim satisfaction. "Perfect, it trapped itself. All units report ready, sir." The general raised his communication device. "This is General Vextar to all coalition forces. 6 months ago, we came to this planet as conquerors. One beast made us into refugees in our own base. Tonight, we reclaim our honor." He paused, looking at the cave entrance where his enemy waited. "Charge all weapons. Prepare for simultaneous strike. When I give the order, everything fires at once. No mercy, no hesitation." "Sir, final energy scan shows the creature is moving deeper into the caves. Trying to hide. Good. The deeper it goes, the less chance of escape." What Vextar didn't know was that the Shadow Maw wasn't hiding. It was following a small, familiar scent that had somehow reached the caves, a scent of sadness and loss that called to something deep in its ancient heart. Far below in the darkness of the crystal caves, amber eyes glowed with concern. Something precious was coming. Something that needed protection. "All weapons charged and ready, sir." General Vextar raised his hand. "Kill it." The first plasma blast lit up the night sky like a small sun. The ground shook as quantum disruptors fired into the crystal caves. Rocks fell from the ceiling deep underground. The Shadow Maw roared in pain and anger. "Direct hit," Captain Zeth reported. "The creature is moving toward the back tunnels." General Vextar watched the tactical display. "Block those exits, don't let it escape this time." More weapons fired. The cave system trembled. Ancient crystal formations that had grown for thousands of years cracked and fell. Deep in the tunnels, the Shadow Maw limped through the darkness. Green blood dripped from wounds across its massive body. Its left leg dragged behind it. But something else drove it forward. That strange scent. That feeling of sadness that matched its own pain. Back at the base, Minho woke from another dream. This time the big animal was hurt and calling for help. The boy sat up in his small bed. Around him, other refugee children slept peacefully. He could hear the distant sounds of weapons firing. The grown-ups had gone to fight the creature again. Minho thought about his wooden figurine still trapped under the heavy machine. His father's last gift to him. The only thing he had left of his family. The maintenance area would be empty now. Everyone was either fighting or hiding. Maybe he could get his toy back. The boy slipped out of bed quietly. The hallways were dark except for emergency lights. Red warnings flashed on every wall, but Minho couldn't read the alien writing. He made his way to Dr. Yuna's lab. The door stood open. Inside, computers still showed the battle. Red dots moved across the map as weapons fired into the caves. Minho crawled under the heavy equipment. His small size let him reach places adults couldn't go. There, in the far corner, his wooden figurine waited for him. As he grabbed it, something fell from the machine above, a small device that looked like a flashlight. Dr. Yuna had mentioned it was a scanner for detecting life forms in caves. Minho picked up both items. The scanner felt warm in his hands. Numbers and symbols appeared on its small screen. More explosions shook the base. Dust fell from the ceiling. Minho realized the fighting was getting closer. He tried to return to the safe room, but alarms started blaring. Emergency doors sealed automatically. The hallway he came from was now blocked. Emergency lockdown in effect. All personnel remain in current positions until further notice. Minho was trapped in the lab section. But he noticed another door marked with symbols he didn't understand. It led to the outside maintenance area. The boy pushed through the door and found himself in the night air. Stars shone overhead despite the distant flashes of weapons fire. The crystal caves were only a few miles away. The scanner in his hand beeped softly. Its screen showed a large life form moving through the underground tunnels. Moving toward him, Minho remembered his dream. The big animal was hurt and scared. Maybe it needed help. The 8-year-old boy made a decision that would change everything. He started walking toward the caves. Meanwhile, the coalition forces continued their assault. Every weapon they had poured destruction into the underground maze. "Sir, the creature has stopped moving," reported a weapons officer. "Is it dead?" "Unknown. Could be wounded or hiding." General Vexistar studied the readings. "Send in ground teams, I want confirmation." Soldiers with heavy armor and powerful lights entered the caves. They moved carefully through the destroyed tunnels. Crystal dust filled the air. The smell of melted rock was everywhere. Team 1 reporting. Heavy damage to the cave system. No sign of the creature. Keep looking. It's in there somewhere. The Shadow Maw had indeed stopped moving, but not because it was dead. It had found something that made it forget its own pain. A small human child stood at the cave entrance. The same scent it had been following. The same sadness it felt in its own heart. Minho looked up at the massive creature emerging from the darkness. Most people would have screamed and run, but this boy saw something different. The beast was huge, yes. Its black scales were cracked and bleeding. Its amber eyes glowed in the darkness. But those eyes looked tired. Hurt. Lonely. "Hello?" Minho said softly. "Are you okay?" The Shadow Maw stopped. In all its long life, no other creature had ever spoken to it with kindness. It tilted its great head, studying this tiny being. Minho took a step closer. "You're hurt. I'm sorry they did this to you." The creature made a low sound, not a roar or growl, something gentler, like it was trying to talk back. "I know what it's like to be alone," the boy continued. "My mom and dad are gone too." The Shadow Maw's eyes widened. Somehow it understood. This small creature had lost its family, just like the Shadow Maw had lost its mate and children years ago to the Coalition's first attacks on the planet. Minho reached into his pocket and pulled out his father's wooden figurine. "This is all I have left of them. Do you have something to remember your family?" The great beast lowered its massive head closer to the boy. In its throat, it made a sound like singing. Sad and beautiful. "That's a pretty song," Minho said. "Is that how you remember them?" The creature nodded slowly, actually nodded like it understood every word. "I dream about you sometimes," Minho whispered. "You're not mean like they say, you're just sad." The Shadow Maw moved even closer. Its huge head was now just a few feet from the small boy. Steam rose from its nostrils in the cool night air. Minho reached out his hand. "Does it hurt a lot?" The creature looked at the boy's tiny hand. One of its claws was bigger than the child's entire arm. It could kill him with the smallest movement. Instead, it very carefully touched the boy's hand with the tip of one claw, so gently that it barely made contact. "You're not a monster," Minho said. "You're just protecting your home." At that moment, lights appeared in the distance. The Coalition search teams were getting closer. Team 3, we have movement at the main entrance. "Sir, something's wrong with our scanners. We're reading 2 life forms now." General Vexitar grabbed his communicator. 2 life forms? Has the creature reproduced? "Negative, sir. 1 large signature matching the Shadow Maw. 1 small signature, possibly human." The general's face went pale. "Human. Check the civilian count immediately." "Sir, we have a problem. One of the refugee children is missing. 8-year-old male named Minho. Get me a direct line to the search teams. Now." Back at the cave, Minho heard vehicles approaching. "They're coming to hurt you again." The Shadow Maw heard them too. Its muscles tensed. It could run deeper into the caves. Try to escape again. But that would mean leaving this small being alone. And something deep in its heart wouldn't let that happen. Instead, the massive creature did something that shocked both of them. It lowered its great body to the ground and moved between Minho and the approaching soldiers. "What are you doing?" the boy asked. The Shadow Maw looked back at him with those glowing amber eyes. Then it placed its huge head on the ground right in front of Minho's feet. The boy understood. The creature was protecting him, ready to take more pain to keep him safe. "No," Minho said firmly. No more hurting. He climbed onto the creature's massive head and hugged it as tightly as his small arms could manage. If they want to hurt you, they'll have to hurt me too. The coalition soldiers appeared at the cave entrance, weapons ready. What they saw made them freeze in disbelief. A human child hugging the most dangerous creature in the galaxy, and the creature holding perfectly still, protecting the boy with its own body. Command, this is Team Leader Junho. You're not going to believe what we're seeing. Sergeant Junho couldn't believe his eyes. He had been a soldier for 15 years. He had seen battles across a dozen worlds. But nothing had prepared him for this sight. The Shadow Maw, the terror that had killed hundreds of coalition soldiers, lay on the ground like a giant pet. A small human boy sat on its massive head, hugging it gently. The creature that could tear through battle armor stayed perfectly still, letting the child comfort it. Command, are you receiving this? Junho whispered into his communicator. We see it, Sergeant. Hold your position. Do not engage. Behind Junho, 20 heavily armed soldiers stood frozen. Their weapons were designed to kill the beast, but now they couldn't fire without hurting the child. Sir, what are your orders? Asked Private Chen, a young human soldier. Wait for backup, and keep those weapons down. The Shadow Maw's amber eyes watched the soldiers carefully. It knew they wanted to hurt it, but it also knew something more important. This small human had shown it kindness. Now it would protect him no matter what. Minho felt the creature's muscles tense under him. It's okay, he whispered. They won't hurt you while I'm here. The boy slid down from the creature's head and stood beside it. His tiny hand rested on the beast's massive snout. Don't be afraid, he told both the soldiers and the creature. More vehicles arrived at the cave entrance. General Vextar stepped out of his command transport, his forearms spread in disbelief. This is impossible, he muttered. Captain Zeth followed, close behind. Sir, the boy has been missing for 2 hours. He must have wandered here during the lockdown. How is he still alive? That thing should have eaten him the moment it saw him. Dr. Yuna pushed past the soldiers. When she saw Minho, her heart nearly stopped. Minho, she called out softly. Come here, sweetheart. Come away from the animal. The boy looked back at her. Dr. Yuna, it's not what you think. It's not mean. It's just hurt and lonely. Minho, please, it's very dangerous. No, it's not, look. The boy reached up and touched one of the creature's wounds. Green blood had dried around a deep cut from the plasma weapons. The Shadow Maw made a soft whimpering sound. See? It's in pain. Just like I was when my parents died. Dr. Yuna took a careful step forward. As a scientist, she was fascinated. As someone who cared for Minho, she was terrified. Can you tell me what happened, Minho? I came to find my dad's toy. Then I heard it crying, not with sound, but in my head. So I followed. The beeping thing. The boy held up the life scanner he had taken from the lab. It was scared and hurt. The bombs made it bleed. But when I talked to it, it understood me. General Vexitar stepped forward, his plasma rifle ready. Boy, move away from the creature. We need to finish this. The Shadow Maw immediately rose to its full height, 12 feet of scarred muscle and deadly claws. But instead of attacking, it placed itself directly between the general and the child. You see, Minho said. It's protecting me. It's using you. As a shield, Vexitar snapped. These creatures are clever. It knows we won't fire while you're there. No, you're wrong. Watch. Minho walked around to the front of the creature. Now nothing stood between the soldiers and the beast. The Shadow Maw could have grabbed the boy as a hostage. Instead, it lowered its head again and made that soft singing sound. The soldiers watched in amazement. The creature was actually putting itself in danger to keep the child safe. Dr. Yuna stepped closer, her scientific mind racing. General, look at its behavior patterns. This isn't the same creature that attacked our settlements. What do you mean? The attacks were always defensive. When we approached certain areas, it drove us away, but it never pursued fleeing soldiers. It never attacked the base directly, even though it could have. Your point, Doctor? It was protecting territory. just like any intelligent species would do. Vextar's grip tightened on his weapon. It's an animal, a dangerous animal. Sir, Sergeant Junho interrupted. Permission to speak freely? Granted. I've been watching its eyes. Animals don't look at you like that. There's something going on in there, something that thinks and feels. The Shadow Maw turned its massive head toward Junho. For a moment, their eyes met. The creature nodded slightly as if agreeing with the sergeant's words. Did it just nod? Asked Private Chen. Animals don't nod, Dr. Yuna said quietly. Only intelligent beings respond to conversation that way. Minho smiled. I told you it was smart. It understands everything we say. To prove his point, the boy spoke directly to the creature. Can you show them you're friendly? The Shadow Maw looked around at all the weapons pointed at it. Then it did something remarkable. It sat down like a giant dog and placed both its front paws on the ground in front of it. Position of complete submission. Impossible, breathed Captain Zeth. It's following the boy's instructions, Dr. Yuna observed. Complex instructions that require understanding language and social cues. General Vextar felt his worldview cracking. Everything he believed about this creature was wrong, but admitting that meant admitting he had been trying to commit murder, not pest control. Sir, Junho said carefully, maybe we should reconsider our approach. The boy could still be in danger, Vextar argued weakly. Minho overheard. I'm not in danger. Watch this. He walked up to the creature's massive mouth. Teeth the size of knives lined its jaws. Any one of them could cut him in half. Open your mouth, the boy said. Every soldier tensed. This was how the nightmare would end. The beast would finally show its true nature. The Shadow Maw opened its mouth wide. Row after row of sharp teeth gleamed in the artificial light. Minho reached inside and touched one of the teeth. See? It won't hurt me. It's my friend. The creature closed its mouth gently and nuzzled the boy with its snout. Dr. Yuna felt tears in her eyes. General, we've made a terrible mistake. What mistake? We've been at war with a sentient species. We invaded their planet, destroyed their habitat, probably killed their families. The attacks weren't random violence. They were acts of desperate self-defense. The weight of her words hit everyone present. They weren't fighting monsters. They were fighting people. People trying to protect their home. How many did we kill? Junho asked quietly. According to our reports, at least 12 Shadow Maws in the past year, Captain Zeth answered. 12 individuals. 12 thinking, feeling beings with families and emotions. The Shadow Maw seemed to understand the conversation. It let out that sad singing sound again. But this time there were harmonies in it, like it was singing for others who could no longer sing. It's mourning, Dr. Yuna realized. It's singing for the dead. Minho put his arms around the creature's neck. I'm sorry they hurt your family. I know how that feels. The beast looked down at the small human who shared its pain. In that moment, something passed between them that transcended species. Understanding, forgiveness, hope. General Vextar slowly lowered his weapon. Stand down, all units, stand down. Sir, we're not fighting an animal. We're fighting someone's child, someone's parent, someone's friend. He looked at the Shadow Maw with new eyes. And we're the monsters here. The creature met his gaze steadily. In those amber depths, Vextar saw intelligence, wisdom, and something he didn't expect. Forgiveness. Dr. Yuna, is communication possible? I think it already is, General. Through the boy. Minho smiled up at them. It wants to talk, it has lots to say. But first, can we help fix its hurts? The most powerful military force in the galaxy stood silent as an 8-year-old boy taught them the difference between strength and wisdom, and in the crystal caves of a distant world, the first words of peace were spoken between two species that had forgotten how to trust. 2 weeks had passed since the night at the crystal caves. The coalition base looked completely different now. Medical tents stood where weapons had been stored. Scientists worked alongside soldiers, and in the center of it all, a small human boy played with the galaxy's most feared predator. Minho threw a ball made from spare fabric. The Shadow Maw, who now answered to the name Taiyang, caught it gently in its massive jaws and brought it back. The creature had learned to control its strength perfectly around the fragile humans. Good boy, Taiyang, Minho laughed, using the Korean word for sun. The name fit perfectly with the creature's golden eyes. Dr. Yuna watched from her new research station. She had been studying Taiyang for days, learning more about the species than anyone thought possible. Remarkable, she said to Sergeant Junho, who had become her assistant. Look at these brain scans. The images showed complex patterns of thought and emotion. The neural pathways are more advanced than most coalition species. They're not just intelligent, they're highly evolved. How intelligent are we talking about? Tool use, language, art, family structures. Everything that defines civilization. We've been at war with people, not animals. General Vextar approached the research station. His 4 arms carried data, pads filled with reports. Doctor, I need your help with something. What is it, General? The Coalition High Command wants a full report. They're asking if we should send more weapons or negotiate a peace treaty. Dr. Yuna looked at him seriously. What do you think we should do? 3 weeks ago, I would have called for total war. Now? He watched Minho teaching Taiyang to shake hands with his massive paw. Now I think that boy has shown us a better way. The Umidi General activated a holographic display. We've identified 17 more Shadow Maws across the planet, all hiding in remote areas, all avoiding contact with us. They're afraid, Dr. Yuna realized. After what we did to their families, they don't trust us. Can you blame them? We destroyed their homes, killed their loved ones, all because we thought they were monsters. Taiyang heard the conversation and made a low sound. Not threatening, but sad. The creature understood more human language than anyone had realized. Minho ran over to them. Taiyang wants to tell you something important. What is it? Vextar asked. The boy placed his hand on the creature's snout. For a moment they seemed to communicate without words. Then Minho nodded. He says his people are dying. Not from fighting, but from sadness. When families are broken, Shadow Maws get sick inside. Dr. Yuna leaned forward. Emotional trauma affecting physical health. That's a sign of very advanced psychology. He also says they remember the old times, before we came here, when there were hundreds of them living in the Crystal Cities. Crystal Cities? Vextar repeated. Taiyang stood up and walked to the cave entrance. He began making marks in the dirt with his claw. Detailed drawings appeared, buildings carved, from crystal. Families of Shadow Maws living together. Art and music and joy. He's showing us their civilization, Dr. Yuna breathed. This planet wasn't empty when we arrived. It was home to an entire culture. Minho translated more of Taiyang's drawings. The big crystals weren't just rocks. They were houses and schools and places to sing together. The coalition forces had been mining those same crystals for 6 months. They had unknowingly destroyed thousands of years of Shadow Maw culture. My God, Vextar whispered. What have we done? Captain Zeth approached with urgent news. Sir, long-range sensors show coalition reinforcements arriving tomorrow. 3 battleships with enough firepower to destroy the entire planet. What are their orders? Complete elimination of the Shadow Maw threat. They're calling it Operation Clean Slate. Dr. Yuna felt sick. They want to commit genocide. Not if I can help it, Vextar said firmly. Open a channel to the fleet commander. Sir, you're just a ground general. Fleet Admiral Orcs outranks you. Then I'll make him listen. The communication screen activated. Admiral Orcs appeared, his insectoid features showing no emotion. General Vextar, your reports have been confusing. Are you ready for the final assault? Admiral, I'm requesting you halt all attack plans. Excuse me? The Shadow Maws are not monsters. They're an intelligent species. We've been fighting a war of aggression against innocent people. Admiral Corks's compound eyes narrowed. General, have you lost your mind? These creatures have killed hundreds of our soldiers. In self-defense. We invaded their world, destroyed their homes, killed their families. They were protecting themselves. Prove it. Vextar gestured to Minho and Taiyang. A human child has established peaceful contact. The creature shows clear signs of intelligence, emotion, and cultural sophistication. I see an animal that's learned tricks. Taiyang heard the Admiral's dismissive tone. The creature moved closer to the communication screen and began to speak, not in roars or growls, but in a complex series of sounds that clearly formed patterns and meaning. What is that noise? Orcs demanded. Dr. Yuna had been recording. It's language, Admiral, sophisticated language with grammar, syntax, and emotional inflection. He's trying to talk to you. Impossible. Minho stepped forward. He says he's sorry for the fighting. He says his people just want to live in peace. He says if you promise not to hurt anyone else, they'll help you find the minerals you need without destroying their homes. The communication fell silent. The fleet ship's officers were reviewing Dr. Yuna's data and recordings. Admiral, came another voice from off-screen. The linguistic analysis confirms complex language patterns. This appears to be genuine communication. Admiral Cork struggled with the implications. If this is true, we've committed war crimes. Yes, Vextar said simply, but we can make it right. How? Minho answered for them. Taiyang says there's enough of everything on this planet for everyone. Humans, coalition people, and shadow maws. We just have to share and be nice to each other. From the mouth of a child came the wisdom that had escaped military leaders for months. Admiral, I'm requesting permission to negotiate a formal peace treaty, Vextar said. With animals? With people. Intelligent, feeling people who deserve the same rights as any coalition species. A long pause. Then Admiral Corks nodded slowly. Permission granted. But General, if this goes wrong, the consequences will be severe. I understand, sir. The communication ended. Around the base, soldiers and scientists worked together to prepare for the most important negotiation in galactic history. Minho hugged Taiyang's massive neck. Did you hear that? No more fighting. The creature made its singing sound again. But this time it wasn't sad. It was hopeful. Dr. Yuna approached with a data pad. Minho, we need your help. You're the only one who can really talk to them. Would you be willing to help us make peace? The 8-year-old boy looked up at her with serious eyes. My mom and dad always said helping others was the most important thing you could do. So you'll help? Of course. Taiyang is my friend, and friends help each other. 6 months later, the planet had transformed completely. Crystal cities were being rebuilt with coalition technology and Shadow Maw artistry. Human children played with young Shadow Maws in the rebuilt settlements. Scientists from both species worked together to understand the planet's unique ecosystem. Minho, now 9 years old, served as the official ambassador between humans and Shadow Maws. He was the youngest diplomat in galactic history. General Vextar had been promoted to peace coordinator. His job was to make sure the treaty was followed and both species were treated fairly. Dr. Yuna led the joint research team studying Shadow Maw culture and technology. They had discovered that the creature's crystal-growing abilities could revolutionize construction across the galaxy. And Taiyang? He had become the first Shadow Maw to leave the planet, traveling with Minho to other worlds to show that peace was possible between any species willing to try. The story spread across the galaxy. The tale of a human child who saw past fear and violence to find friendship, who proved that sometimes the smallest voice could speak the most important truths. In the end, the coalition learned something valuable. The universe was full of different kinds of intelligence, and the measure of true civilization wasn't how well you could fight, but how well you could understand those who were different from you. As Minho often said when people asked about his unusual best friend, everyone just wants to be loved and safe. Even if they look scary on the outside, on the inside we're all the same. And in the crystal cities of Kepler 442b, human laughter mixed with Shadow Maw songs, creating music that had never been heard before in the galaxy, the sound of peace.